Hi everyone, today we are here to present about our SBU 3043 group assignment with the title of Evidence of Evolution. So first I will give some introduction about our group member. They are Kok Shia, Lo Chu Xiu, Kwe Wen Ling, Siti Nur Faiza binti Manso, and Nafisa binti Arifin. So each of us will present one of the evidence of evolution.
My name is Kok Yao. I would like to talk about the evidence of comparative anatomy. There are many forms of evidence for evolution. One of the strongest forms of evidence is comparative anatomy. Comparative anatomy involves comparing the body structures of two species. Comparative means to look at the similarities between two things, and anatomy has to do with the structure of the body. Scientists can look at anatomical structure of seemingly unrelated animals to tell how related they are. Organisms with similar anatomical features are assumed to be relatively closely related evolutionarily, and they are assumed to share a common ancestor. As a result of the study of evolutionary relationships, anatomical similarities and difference are important factors in determining and establishing classification of organisms. Comparative anatomy supports Darwin's idea of descent having modification, also generally known as evolution. An example of comparative anatomy is the similar bone structure in forelimbs of cats, owls, bats, and humans. Next example is modification of the tetrapod skeleton. Owls and hummingbirds have tetrapod skeletons inherited from a common ancestor. Their bodies have been modified and parts have been lost through natural selection, resulting in adaptation to their respective lifestyle over millions of years. On the surface, this animal looks very different, but the relationship between them is easy to demonstrate. Except for those bones that have been lost over time, nearly every bone in each corresponds to an equivalent bone in the other.
Homology is the similarity of the structure, physiology, or development of different species of organisms based upon their descent from a common evolutionary ancestor. Homology is contrasted with analogy, which is a functional similarity of structure based not upon common evolutionary origin, but upon mere similarity of use. Thus, the volume of such widely differing mammals such as human, bats, and deer are homologous. The form of contractions and the number of bones in these varying limbs are practically identical and represent adaptive modification of the volume structures of their common earlier mammalian ancestor. When two or more organs or structures are basically similar to each other in the contraction, but are modified to perform different functions, they are said to be serially homologous. An example of this is a bat's wings and a whale flipper. Both originate in the volume of early mammalian ancestor, but they have undergone different evolutionary modification to perform the radically different tasks for flying and swimming respectively. Sometimes it is unclear whether similarity in structure in different organisms are analogous or homologous. An example of this is the wings of bats and birds. These structures are homologous in that there are in both cases modifications of volumes bone structure of earlier reptiles, but birds' wings differ from those of bats in the number of digits and in having feathers for flight while bats have none. And most importantly, the power of flight arose independently in these two different classes of vertebrate. In birds while they are evolving from earlier reptile, and in bats after their mammalian ancestor had already completely differentiated from reptiles.
A vestigial structure or vestigial organ is an anatomical feature or behavior that no longer seems to have a purpose in the current form of an organism. Often, These vestigial structures were organs that performed some important function in the organism at one point in the past. However, as the population changed due to natural selection through evolution, those structures become less and less necessary until they were rendered pretty much useless. Although many of these types of structures would disappear over many generations, some keep being passed down to offspring because they do not harm or they have changed function over time. Here are some examples of vestigial structures in animals. For the first example, snakes descended from lizards, with their legs growing smaller and smaller until all that was left is a small bump at the back of some of the larger snakes, such as pythons. For the second example, blind fish and salamanders who live in caves still have eye structures. For the explanation, in the case of the fish, is that mutation in the genes that increase taste but degrade the eyes. There are also some vestigial structures in human. The examples of human vestigiality are numerous, such as human tailbone, wisdom teeth, inside corner of the eyes, goosebumps, pseudogenes, and many others.
A transitional fossil is any fossilized remains of a life form that exhibits traits common to both an ancestral group and its derived descendant group. This is especially important where the descendant group is sharply differentiated by gross anatomy and mode of living from the ancestral group. Because of the incompleteness of fossil record, there is usually no way to know exactly how close a transitional fossil is to the point of divergence. Therefore, it cannot be assumed that transitional fossils are direct ancestors of more recent groups, though they are frequently used as models for such ancestors. Many transitional fossils have been discovered, and there is now abundant evidence of how all classes of vertebrates are related, including many transitional fossils. Specific examples of class-level transitions are dinosaurs and birds, and also fishes and tetrapods. Many fossils show a clear transition from one species or group to another. Archaeopteryx is the earliest and most primitive bird known. Archaeopteryx was found in Germany in 1861. It shares many characteristics with both dinosaurs and birds. Tiktaalik is another example. Tiktaalik is a monospecific genus of extinct Sarcopterygian, which is lobe-finned fish. Tiktaalik have many features akin to those of tetrapods, which is four-legged animals. Mammals evolved from a group of reptiles called synapsids. Remember, synapsids gave rise to mammal and mammal-like reptiles. It was over millions of years that some of these synapsids would evolve many features that would later be associated with mammals.
The fossil record shows a sequence from simple bacteria to more complicated organisms through time and provides the most compelling evidence for evolution. A fossil record is a group of fossils which has been analyzed and arranged chronologically in taxonomic order. Fossils are created when organisms die, are encased in dirt, rock, and are slowly replaced by mineral over time. What is left in mineral impression of an animal which one exists? Many fields and specialties are utilized to categorize and arrange the fossil, including comparative anatomy, radiometric dating, and DNA analysis. Using the data from the fossil record, scientists try to recreate phylogenesis or trees describing the relationship between animals both alive and extinct. The fossil record helps inform how different groups of animals are related through evolution. That's all from us. Thank you for your watching. Bye.